Hello, this is Ryan Shami, and I'm presenting COM 2560 Assignment 4 on signals. So I'm going to show all the requirements for each question, and we'll get right into the assignment. So for question 0, was just for completing the DataCam certificate, so I can show that right over here. Here's the PDF, and here's the certificate that I did the Introduction to Bash Scripting course. And if we wanted to just check That's a mistake. LA bash. And you'll see it right there, so it's made. And here are my two timing text and TypeScript files. So that's the certificate. It's properly named, and I placed it in the question 0 folder as it was required in the assignment. So now going on to the assignment with question 1. So question 1 requires creating two child processes where the parent waits for the second child and the first becomes an orphan. So let me just show that code and I'll explain it. Okay. So here's the orphan child C file. And here I create two child processes using fork. And then the parent uses wait PID, PID specifically for the second child. And then the first child sleeps to ensure it becomes an orphan. So I print the PID and exit status of the second child. So let me just show how that works. So you can see the first child becomes orphaned with the PID equals 1. Right here, and then the parent successfully waits for the second child with the exit status 42. So that all works out. That's all for question 1. Now going on to question 2. So question 2 verifies that after exec, the signal handlers reset the default, but ignored the signals remain ignored. Let me just show the code for the signal exec file. There we go. So I installed a custom handler for SIGINT, and then I ignored the SIG TSTP with the control Z, and then the child uses exec to run the do nothing program. So let me show that do nothing C file and show how it would work. Let me just show how the program would work. Okay, so this program basically it checks the signal dispositions after the exec. So that's what that does. And let me just show that working. So you can see after exec, SIGINT resets to the default handler, while the SIG TSTP remains ignored. So this verifies the claim. And that's all for question 2. Now going on to question 3, our second last question. This is the alarm clock simulation question. So the question 3 creates just the alarm clock, and then where the child sleeps, and then it sends the SIG alarm to the parent. So let me show the code for that. Alarm. And here's the code for the alarm. So the child takes the sleep time as the command line argument, and then the child sends the SIG alarm to the parent using kill, and then the parent has the handler that prints the ding, and then the parent uses the pause to wait for the signal. So let me just show how that works out if I were to run it. So I will run that for 5 seconds. So basically, after 5 seconds, the parent should receive the ding. So yeah, after the 5 seconds, yeah. So there, the parent receives the SIG alarm and it prints the ding as it's required. So yeah, that's all for question 3. Now going on to the final question, question 4. Question 4 uses the one handler for both the SIGINT and the SIGQUIT signals. So let me show the code for that. Okay. So this the single unified underscore handler function over here. That single unified underscore handler function is for both signals. So I installed for both SIGINT and SIGQUIT using the signal, and then it prints the signal number to the identity, which signal was caught. So let me show how that one works out. Signal handler. So I would have to click Control C, which this catches the SIGINT signal 2, and then if I do the third signal, there we go. This catches the SIGQUIT, and then Control C again to exit. So both signals are handled by the same function, and they print their respective signal numbers. So yeah, that's all for every single of the 4 questions. I will finish off just by showing the script recordings. I'll just verify those. Let me start with question 0 to make it go a little bit faster. Since I'm all writing the same commands, I'll take them from my notepad over here. So here's the script for question 0. The question 0 recording. Pretty simple, just showing the PDF. There's the file, confirming it exists, and then we exit, and that's all for the question 0 for the certificate. Now going on to the question 1. Here's that recording. So here's the recording for question 1. Put the make, and then I run the orphan child. And then we exit, and then we're done. So that was the recording for question 1. And then next question. Same thing, we're gonna run the same command. So here's the question 2 recording. There's the exit. Now the final question. And there we go. And And just to show all the files, let me run that. The final check to show the entire file structure of this entire assignment. And there's every single starting off right here, every file we needed. So this shows that we have every single file for the C files, for the script recordings, and everything needed for the assignment. So that's all for this assignment. Thank you for watching and have a great day.